Hi there. Today we're going to talk about toxic workplaces and also wrong focus, where we're actually putting our focus. My name's Mags Bell. I love sharing the wisdoms of others that I have been able to take in and I get to share now. The wisdom from the years and years that I've worked and managed people, and more importantly, the years that I've now been working with myself and managing me and leading me. So today we're going to talk about toxic workplaces and focus. First thing is, what is a toxic workplace? What does that actually mean? People brand it around, oh, it's a toxic workplace, you don't want to go there, or oh, I'm in this really toxic environment at the moment. But what does that actually mean? So there's three things that I would say. One is that it's negative behaviours that go either ignored or, worse than that, they actually get rewarded. So you've got this negative behaviour that's happening and people are acting in really obstructive ways for others, but they may actually think it's great for them. But that's been rewarded, or it's actually just been ignored completely. Now, what that can build up is you can have a bullying environment in that case, because nothing's corrected, no behaviour's corrected, and that can build fear. Okay, so the emotion of that is the fear is then built. The biggest thing of all I can say about this is sometimes people don't even know that they are being bullied or bullying, and they don't even realise that the behaviour is negative to other people, and that's because it's not actually addressed, and they don't understand or realise that that's just a behaviour they've learned through time and space, with family, with friends, with other work colleagues. So to be honest with you, this is a LeadingME thing. If you're unaware of it, how can you change it? So if these things are ignored or rewarded, then you're just going to keep getting the same thing. So that's the first thing. Second point is, toxic environments and workplaces tend to be where harassment happens and it plays out, and again is either played down or it's ignored. So someone makes a joke, but it's not really a joke, but they think it's funny, but nobody else does, and nobody speaks up, so it's just ignored and pushed under the carpet. Well, again, how are they going to change behaviour if they do not know? And some people can then say, oh yeah, Mags, but these people do know. Well, you're saying that because you don't like it. It doesn't always ring true. Sometimes it does, but not always. But either way, that person needs for that behaviour to be brought into the limelight and actually be told that that's actually not on and there's consequences to that behaviour. So what that does is that the harassment part and that negative talk around actually builds up lack of trust in the team, in the management, in the company. So trust breaks down, and if you have trust that breaks down, we're talking about fear, we're talking about trust, you have a lack of productivity there, because people are so focused on behaviours and talking about those behaviours, they don't actually spend a lot of time and engagement in the workplace, which means productivity goes down. The last point I'd also make about a toxic environment and what it's like is gossip and rumours. When you've got an environment where there's a lot of gossip going on, rumours, I can tell you right now, it's so easy to get drawn into that and talk about, what you think about that person. Oh, by the way, and if you've got a comrade in arms who's going to talk about that person over there, it feeds the negativity, it feeds that negative talk, it feeds how we go about life, and it spreads like a disease, it spreads. So if there's gossip and rumours, the thing that can actually build up is resentment and anger, trust and fear, all of the above. So you've got negative behaviours, which can lead to that bullying side of things, and they go unrewarded and ignored. You've got the gossip part of things, you've got the harassment. All of that builds up into fear, it builds up into lack of trust, and it builds up into resentment and anger. So is that really what you want in your workplace? So if the answer is no, which I hope it is to that one, then what do we do? What do we do about that? This is where wrong focus and change of focus comes in. Wrong focus is where we get caught and hauled into the negative parts. So things like, hold into that, let's discuss that person, let's talk nasty about that person because it makes me feel better for all of 2 seconds. So changing the focus from that, being really nasty stuff into, because you're now partaking in the things that you're saying you don't like. And you're doing it usually through like a frustration because nothing's changing. Well, nothing's going to change if you focus here on that negative. So it's the changing of the focus to the positive that you really want to do. Now, how do you do that? Because this is a horrible environment. How do I change that into the positive? Now, one thing I've always said is positive thinking does not work, guys. So don't just think you can go into work and feel positive and that's going to be great. You need the positive feel. And to get that, there's a couple of things that I can suggest. One is, if you're an employee, first thing I'd be doing is I'd be talking to the person that's causing me, not everybody else, because you're not there to sort issues for everyone, right? You're there to do a job of work, but you're there to do it and enjoy being there and engage with it so that your productivity goes up. So this is back to LeadingME. I actually really need to go and have a discussion with the person that's causing the issues. So it's that one-to-one, asking them, sit and plan it out for yourself, what you're going to say, how you're going to say it. How do you do it instead of just blurting out and making the person get angry at you? Because that's usually why we don't want to do this. We don't like confrontation, so we'll ignore it. So confrontation is a good thing when it's done in the right way. And confrontation, I think the media's built this up to be a war, because whenever, conflicts in whatever country. So I'd like you to see confrontation as a different thing. I'm going to confront the person with the behaviours. So specific, what the behaviours are that are specific, and how that affects you only. Because as soon as we start getting general about what I think, it's my opinion about what you're doing, and it's for everyone, anyone can battle that through, and that's what causes dis-ease within yourself about challenging something. So it's actually getting into perspective. What is the specific thing the person has done that's made me feel uncomfortable, not happy, bullied, whatever the feel is that you've had, what is that thing? Secondly, how do I put that down and how do I actually get that over to someone? And thirdly, how did it make me feel? So particularly how it made me feel, because no one can actually argue with your feelings. And you can even start it with, these are my feelings. I mean, no one can argue with the fact that they're my feelings and this is how I feel. I just want to explain to you what your behaviour is doing to me that makes me feel the way I'm feeling. And then you start with, when you do X, Y, and Z, or the other day, so the specific, the other day when you did X, or this morning when you didn't X, that made me feel Y, and I'm really uncomfortable with that. Can we find a way to work together that I'm not feeling uncomfortable and you still feel that you can have a fun time or do whatever you want? So you're looking for that, as Stephen Covey says, that fifth habit, seek first to understand before you're understood. So by putting that point and then allowing the person to come back with what they're doing, how they're doing it. Now, some of that can be excuses, but we need to use these 2 ears to hear what they're saying and what they done and how they done it and why they done it. And then come back again to, so what I think I heard you say was X, Y, and Z. I can understand that now. However, from my point of view, this is X, Y, and Z. So is there a where we can meet in the middle? So that's a great way to do it on that one-to-one. If on the other hand, you've maybe had that one-to-one, or you really don't want to face that, but to me, if you're not facing it, you're part of the issue. You may not like to hear it, but you're part of the issue because you've been brought into close proximity with that person to help them grow and vice versa. You're not willing to grow, then why the hell should they? Okay. So let's just say you've had that discussion with them and nothing's changed. Then go into your line manager would be your next step. Now, some people might say, yeah, Mags, but the line manager's the issue that I've got. Okay, then go to HR or go to their manager above. Again, the same thing. If it's the line manager, we go through exactly the same. If it's the line manager, again, come to specifics with them. Don't give them general and what you feel, because it ain't going to work. Because as a manager myself, I wasn't going to react to someone just saying they didn't like something. They had to figure a way, and I'd try and help them do that. But if it was something that was really affecting them, they could give me an exact example and where that behaviour wasn't good behaviour at all, then I can do something about it. Okay, so speak to your line manager. If not them, the second line manager or your HR department. If you're then saying, listen, Mags, it's the whole company, it's all toxic, then I hate to say, but the question for me would be, well, why are you still there? I don't understand it. If this is such a bad environment, get out, right? And I'm saying, get out. If you've exhausted every other path. And I think the big thing is that the avoidance here is a different avoidance, because if you've done X, Y, and Z and nothing's happened, nothing's changed, then nothing's going to change. So stop beating your head against the wall and actually go, right, okay, I need to focus on somewhere that appreciates me, that shares similar values, because it could be that company's values when you went in were exactly what fixed with you, and over time that's changed through changes in management, changes in bosses. If that's the case, I'd say it's time to go, because you cannot change values. You cannot change anyone's values. You can change behaviours but never values. So if it's a value mismatch, get out and find another company that shares your values, and it will be wonderful. Okay, if we'll switch this round, and if you're an employer and you've got a toxic environment and someone's come to you, so let's say you're the first line manager, one of your subordinates have come to you, one of your staff is saying, listen, I have a real issue here, and here it is. If you're turning away from that and ignoring it because it's too hard, then you shouldn't be in the job. Your job is to create the environment that people really feel good, feel appreciated, feel successful, feel achievement, feel development, right? Because that will get you the best productivity out. So you doing that will get your scores on the boards high. You're not doing that, they will be low. So don't go pointing the finger at them, because that's you. This is LeadingME, guys. So you have to look at, okay, I need to really listen and hear the issue, not just decide that they're wrong because X, Y, and Z and I've seen their behaviour, right? None of that. 2 ears are for listening. Listen carefully to what the person's saying. Ask them for specifics. If they can't give you it, say, look, I understand you've got a real problem, but I have an issue here as well. I need specifics on this. So can I ask you that the next time something happens like this, you come back to me with that specific, and then we can actually look at doing something about it. So don't accept if they just come complaining and moaning, right? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying get them to get specific on it, and they may not have even thought the specifics. Maybe they're just so riled up. But give them a task to go and find, if that happens again, to be specific about, one, what the behaviour was that's unacceptable, and two, how that made them feel. That's the two things they need for you to then be able to action something, okay? Reviews and feedback. A lot of managers do once a year reviews, right? I'm anti once a year reviews, because people get blindsided by things that could have been, headed up so much earlier, and you get blindsided completely. So I'm all for the review, the monthly review, right? One of the things I got so much from was that monthly review that became a sort of norm for everybody to come. Now, this wasn't a monthly moan at me review. This is a monthly review of how are you doing, what your figures are, how they are in comparison to what was set. So KPIs, how you doing versus your KPIs. You know, what's been happening for you. Is there any issues that you have? So what can you bring to the table on, bring me an issue, but also bring me a solution, right? You get your people into that, you'll get all sorts of things, which is great. So that regular review with specifics, wonderful, absolutely love it. And improvement plans. So for the people that you're having to have those, what they call difficult conversations, I have to laugh because we call these the soft skills. I'm so anti that. These are not soft skills, guys. These are the hardest skills to get is actually having a really good discussion on some negative feedback that you're giving to someone else. I have a thing called the BAR model, which actually helps in feedback. BAR as in behaviour awareness. So if you imagine this as a Venn diagram, behaviour awareness followed by responsibility. And there's 3 sections of that. If you want a copy of that, then just let me know and the team will get a copy to you. But that BAR model it's a behavioural model that allows people to understand the behaviours that they have that's affecting others, accept them and take responsibility for them so that they can actually change that behaviour. So improvement plans really should be based on those things where we've got somebody, their behaviour isn't good, that you've actually canvassed some more staff, you've got some more information, you now have very good specifics. You only need one, by the way, you don't have to have lots, but one. And you feed that back in a really constructive way, possibly using the BAR model, other ways. And they go on to an improvement plan that they have to improve that behaviour or there's more consequences of that. It's that easy, but we sometimes make it more difficult. So that's today. Toxic workplaces, environments, wrong focus. Where's your focus? Are you moving it to the right focus? If you've got an issue, are you bringing that up with the person? Are you bringing it up with your managers? As a manager, are you actually listening and doing something about it rather than avoiding? Toxic workplaces are built up through avoidance. That's the biggest thing of all. That's the biggest thing I can say. So let's stop avoiding. That's everyone, employees and employers. Let's stop avoiding what we call soft skills and actually pick up on the hard skills, because these are more difficult conversations, but the more you do them and the more you have tools to do that, the easier they become. And not only that, but you can actually help someone go from mediocre performance, both the person that's happening to and the person that's doing it, to being top performers because you've adjusted their sales. Simple as that. And a lot of times people come back and thank me for pointing out that behaviour because they didn't know. They maybe didn't like it at the time, but afterwards they were like, my God, that changed my life and made it easier. So that's today's. Hope you've enjoyed. And any comments, pop them in comment boxes, thumbs up. Tell me what you like and what you're not. Any suggestions, please throw them my way. Happy to talk about any issues you're having and how to deal with those. And for me, for now, stay true, stay you, and keep bringing out your brilliance. Bye for now.